Reasons for documenting along the cycle. One of the main reasons why we write things down is to create a paper trail in a very logistics and personal accountability focused way throughout the project lifecycle. And so for better or worse, there definitely is an idea, especially in American and Western workplaces, that the person who's really good at documenting, expressing, and sharing what is happening can get an edge of authority. Something in writing is typically viewed as more valuable and official than just verbal accounts or agreements of things. And side note action, this is why you should always get position negotiations and conditions in writing. While technically a verbal contract, it's still a contract in the legal sense, having it in writing and signed is a stronger situation to put yourself in. So if you get a job offer and they promise moving expenses, or at your current job you ask for and get a new stipend for the internet bill in your home office, always get that in writing before moving forward. Also, documenting what you plan to do, what did get done, how it got done, and any incidences that occurred shows more accountability. No matter what kind of workplace you end up in, if it's more in the business administrative side, if it's more of like a technical field side, the medical side, an engineering side, honestly, whatever kind of job it is, your ability to capture what is happening around you, explain it clearly to somebody so they know the actions you've taken, and be able to recommend actions moving forward definitely can give you some ethos, credibility, and authority, and be a strong way to show your value and contributions in the big picture. So the thing to remember, and really why we're going to talk about all of these genres, is because we want to document what's up and drive action forward. Here are some scenarios that happen in project management where we need to document. There are 4 kinds of kind of basically likely scenarios that I guess you'll probably encounter across any kind of job or workplace or industry you end up. At least these are the things that me and my friends across various technical and creative industries experience. So the first one is if you need to summarize a situation. So maybe you traveled for the project and then you need to submit something like a trip report that explains all of your expenses and the outcomes of that trip. It will be super short, and often companies have a template or even online submission portal for you to document and summarize your activities, explain how they relate to the project or the work, and upload your receipts. Or if something happens, like your lab equipment maybe breaks down, you need to document what happened, how it impacts your workflow, when it needs to be fixed, and if certain parts need to be ordered. All of that is really just summarizing a situation. So that way you can hand it off to the powers that be and get the resolution that you need. The next thing that you might use these documents for is sharing progress status. And if you have a lot of long-term projects, anything a few weeks or more, you definitely need to keep tabs on the work and update people. Your clients, supervisors, parallel teams, all these different people on a project, they need to know that you're still on track. So that way, everybody knows that you're spending their money accordingly, you're spending your time accordingly, and there's actual results happening. The deliverable is going to come the way they expect. We more commonly use the informal versions to just send over to your team as a quick check-in. We have mid-formal versions for maybe the project manager or product manager, possibly your supervisor. Those ones also might go in a file and come up again during your performance reviews. And then we have formal versions that might go to your investors or the actual clients if you are contracted to do something external. So summarizing situations and sharing a progress status are the 2, I'd say, most common document situations across the general job market. And if you own your own business, you'll probably want to expect those from the people working under you so you know what is going on. Now, the third situation is to request stuff or complain or ask for adjustments on something if it goes wrong. So these are kind of specific, but it's really like if you end up working with budgets in any way, it is going to be more common for you to have to file official reports to request more money for things and document what you spent it on. And you're going to have to explain how much you need, why you needed it, why there's no other alternatives for the stuff you need, where it's going to come from, and why this specific service, product, good is necessary. Sometimes you have to really justify why there aren't especially cheaper options or alternatives that would work. So those are all things you'll put in your document about the project to justify and explain and ultimately request what it is you need for success. We like to have that paper trail, having that clear thing that you can reference back to, even if it's just for yourself. For example, when I launched my freelance LLC, I still documented my why for the company, even though it's literally just me and my spouse, why we needed and chose certain software, new equipment, and other budget items. Creating those documents required me to stop and actually think, research, compare, and justify, again, to myself, which options were best and worth the investment costs. And now we have records, just in case, even though the need for an audit is pretty low for us. You also might need to submit formal letters or documents to manufacturers or service providers that can't just have an online order. And so as you get into that scaled up, super expensive industry level, ordering is different. It's not like going online and just adding stuff to your shopping cart like we get to do as consumers. It's definitely more common to, need to actually reach out to their salespeople, possibly submit a request for bids and quotes, and then generate what we call a purchase order, which is reviewed and approved by your company's purchasing and finance folks. It all gets tracked very carefully, very officially. Then that quote, purchase order, and final delivery receipts, as well as any other materials, are saved in the fiscal year spending records and pulled back up during budget reviews and internal or external audits. My job in college was actually working in a business office, and every summer we had to pull all the records from the past year and reconcile every document to the accounting sheets from all of the department purchases, travel, everything. It was super annoying to track down missing, incomplete, or just terribly documented spending. And then last, if something goes wrong with that order, you might need to submit or at least document what happened. It could be, in the form of a formal complaint letter, basically sending the information back to that service provider, that manufacturer. You would tell them, here's what it was supposed to be, here's what it actually is, here's what's wrong with it, and here are the adjustments, the refund, the replacement parts, the thing that you are asking for in the situation. And you put it all together in that document, again, so you can save it, reference it, and track it all along the process until you get your resolution. So requesting stuff is a little bit more specific to a job title. Some of us will end up depending on it a lot. Others, you probably won't see that situation as often. You might just see a copy of the purchase orders or the receipts if somebody is submitting it on your behalf. And the last situation where we need to document things for a project is that overall direction, vision, KPI, and strategy. When you start a new project, you need to write all those things down so everyone can see it and refer back to the plan for their individual roles. What are we doing? When are we doing it? Why are we doing it? Who are we doing it for? Highly formal versions of this is probably looking at the more high leadership level roles, while informal versions are widely used. I had to do this type of formal project management writing a lot when I was working at the director level. Every decision and initiative I came up with needed to be carefully documented and justified with the outcomes. My formal documents were then often reviewed by the even higher level decision makers for budget approvals and resource management. I also edited them into less formal, more tailored versions for the people working on the initiatives with me. We see these formal directives in the government sectors a bit, especially where they send out memos for new policies that other agencies need to comply with. Folks seeking grants or any special funding on projects usually need these document proposals and formal plans too. If you aren't writing these types of directives and plan documents, you will probably need to read them when they get sent from your leadership team. If you get the opportunity to oversee an intern or something in your workflow someday, or if you're leading even a smaller team and you become the project lead there, you might want to write these on a smaller scale. I would need to write 10+ page ones for year-long success initiatives, and as a project leader, you might only need 2 pages. Either way, if you have any project team or direction, you need to at least document in some informal ways the action that is happening and how things are going to get done. So overall, we have many reasons why capturing and writing about your situations at work come up. Super often, you won't find these expectations specifically listed in your job descriptions, though. Instead, it is an implied aspect of whatever role you hold. Usually, it's the type of writing and documentation that just goes on in the background to make your main responsibilities happen with that paper trail.